Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger. I am literally in a coffee shop in New York City. So this is a special edition of Coffee with the Journalist. Jabari, where are you at? Looks like a home office.
Back, I'm in Jersey at home, but if I'd known you were going to be in New York, I would have just joined you. We would have had coffee. We could have just did it
We could
live
have
right
been
there.
with the oh man. Okay,
Yeah,
we got to incorporate this more and in
absolutely.
coordination with our scheduling and things. Okay, because a lot of journalists are based in New York City. So anyway, everybody. This is Jabari Young, who is the senior writer and editor at Forbes, specializing in editorial lead of Forbes Black BLK. We're going to get into all the things, but Jabari, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here. When I went and saw the pitch, coffee with a journalist, I'm like, of course I got to do it, right?
Of
All these phenomenal
course, of
journalists you've
course.
had on, and so
Yes.
thank you so much for the time, Beck. I
We've
appreciate
had
it.
so many great ones, truly, truly. And I'm
Yeah,
glad you're on because the empire of Forbes is large.
yeah.
And so the various verticals and so forth are wide. What would you first like to start us off with in understanding of Forbes Black to make sure we understand what's up?
Well, listen, I tell people anytime they ask me about it, I say, it's Forbes. The only
Yeah.
difference is it's just Forbes, and it's bringing perspective and allowing you to allow myself as well as colleagues to shine light, on the African American and Black community in America, to celebrate their success, celebrate these entrepreneurs. As you may not see the storytelling on a Forbes level, in years prior, but in 2024, we think, hey, this community in our country, which has done so much. Forbes is really dedicated to making sure that we bring that lens to the community that I come from, and so it's
Mhm.
been a privilege to learn different stories, and especially me pivoting from sports side of things
Yes.
most of my career. So it's been a
Hmm.
privilege to learn new sectors, banking, real estate, to learn new entrepreneurs. It's just been fun for me, and it's almost like you get that rejuvenation button in your career, that
Mm.
re-energizing yourself.
Yes.
I tell people, back in the day when, again, I come from a sports background, but
Yeah,
columnists,
CNBC, NBC,
yeah,
all the things. Everybody can check
and
you out. Yes, the athletic.
the
Hmm.
newspaper, the columnist always, before he got to be a columnist or she got to be a columnist, they always covered a variety of things, which broaden their perspective on things.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
me coming from a newspaper background, I feel like this is that for me. And so it's helping my perspective as a journalist. It's helping me from a geopolitical standpoint.
Hmm.
I'm up every single morning reading the Financial Times, and it's
Hey,
just been fun. It's been fun.
good. Ooh, okay. So do you recommend this pivot for anybody who's considering?
If you start in sports first, you got to start in sports first, right? The thing about sports, when you switch
Yeah,
from
tell me.
sports to things about news, is that sports happens so fast,
Yeah,
right? You could be typing a
it is like,
story
but
in the
yeah,
fourth quarter, something happens which
yeah.
changes the whole dynamic of things. Look at the Damar Hamlin situation. The NFL is a classic example of that, right? No
Mhm.
one was expecting to go into that with that incident, and so you're thinking you're going to cover one thing, and it completely shifts. Whereas news, something happens and you're on the ground covering it, trying to figure out, the dynamics, if it's a fire, what happened, who got injured, what was the cause,
Mhm.
and things of
Mhm.
that nature. So nobody says, hey, it was a false alarm, no fire at all. Do your story all over. No, that's real. So sports, it kind of, you got to stay on your toes. You got to be able to adjust, a pivot at the last minute, the last quarter, right? You got a story written, and in a minute they
Yeah.
come back from
Guess what?
60.
No.
So, it's fast paced. So when you switch over to news, it's more
You're like,
slower pace.
ah,
Yeah,
I've never
you just
heard
have to
that, by
think.
the way. I have never
Yeah,
heard that. And I think that
yeah,
is taking it from like an actual journalist from the sports world where it's play by play on the field live versus the breaking news people that have been on
yeah,
here. So
yeah.
I love that you
You get a
say
chance
like
to think more.
news is easier. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Well, again, thank you for being here. Thanks for
yeah,
spelling out
yeah.
what Forbes Black is committed to and so forth. Let's talk about your inbox. How is it in there?
Oh man, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's filled with a variety of things that I said I'm going to get back to.
Oh,
People
okay.
who they pitched me plenty of times before, and I appreciate their perseverance. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate their consistency. And I've always said, listen, if you persistent, I will always respond, because that's showing you got to be persistent but not annoying. It's a delicate line you got
That's
to
a
walk there.
yeah.
Yeah, so
What
it's all over the place.
what is the line? Would you say? Is it when you cross 5 follow ups or what?
It's up for the person who's making the pitch to decide, right? Like, if
Mm.
I'm not getting back to you after the second or third, maybe that's an indication that, okay, maybe I'm busy or not. Now, if you decide to go for the fourth and the fifth, yeah, I might be able. I mean, I'm gonna
Yeah.
appreciate it either way, but I mean, I feel like at that point, like, okay, if it was really, really something I was interested in, you would have heard from me right away. That second time, I'll always get it because Mondays happen, and then Tuesdays, and before you know it, you're Wednesday, and you're 2 days behind emails. So I appreciate that. Hey, just want to make sure it didn't get lost in your inbox type. And then that third one, hey, just wanted to try one more final time. And if you go 4 or 5, right?
We're
I feel
dead.
like those
We're
four or
dead.
five when they had, well, they gotta be something that's new, that's something, something that maybe I haven't thought about,
That's
or you may say,
changed.
hey, that's
Yeah.
change. Hey, you know what? I
Yes.
went back and thought about it on what may be able to align this to Forbes, and here's what I thought about. That lets me know, okay, you considered the pitch over, you looked at what we're doing, what I'm doing, and you're trying to align your pitch to that. And I appreciate you going back, and I appreciate the follow up. And so at that point, I still may say no, but at
Yes,
least
of
you'll get a
course.
response from me, and I feel
Of
like
course.
I'll lay out why I'm saying no at
You're
that point,
you're
and
touching
then it
on
helps.
something that I think so few publicists get, and I've heard it multiple times on here, which is the follow up. That's just following up.
Yeah,
With what? Is there something new? Is there something additional? Is it? It's like it's a lazy ping, if you ask me.
yeah,
And I've never heard someone on here go like, "Wow, that really spurred me to like look at the whole dang." No, no. It's like, what's new? Is there an extra something
yeah,
to the story?
yeah. And you always
Okay,
want to see exclusivity, right? You always want to see those ones
okay.
that now those get my attention when it says exclusive.
So you want to see that in the
Um,
headline or
of
the
course.
subject
Well,
line?
you know what? I will love to see it in the subject line. It helps, but then I will also don't fool me with it either. Don't make me think it's an exclusive of something that I'm going to jump at, and then when I get down to the second or third grab, it's like this is BS. You know what I mean? So don't fool me with it. Make sure that you
Ah.
align it to my coverage area, to things that I'm interested in. And I feel like I try to do a good job on social media, kind of laying out the things that I cover, the people who I talk to, the things I like to kind of report on. And so I think if you match
Mhm.
what I put out there, if you match what I wrote, if you match my past, you should be able to align a good pitch. Those people who you don't do that, it comes across immediately.
Yes. Now, you earlier said, I'll open that pitch immediately, and you're going for it.
Yeah.
What makes that pitch stand out to you? The immediacy of the open versus sounds like they just trickle along in your inbox, never to be seen again.
Well, listen, and here's where you have to remember the brand that you work for.
Yes.
Just because it's exclusive doesn't mean it's in a Forbes exclusive, right? It might be a Forbes contributor exclusive, and contributors are freelancers that are outside of our news organization. I really don't
Yes.
have too much, to do with that side. But I think if you make it a Forbes exclusive, that's when it catches my
Mhm.
attention. Now, what is a Forbes exclusive? Hey, Pharrell Williams is going to be in town, and he's going to be here. We want to have you here, and we think we can line him up for a couple 30 minutes because Jabari, we know you like to do the, on site. That's my type of email. That now you're going to get
Mhm.
me. I'm not even going to reply. I'm going to call you, right? Because I appreciate the art of the phone call.
I
I'm going
love
to
the
call
phone call.
you
Mhm.
absolutely, especially if you have your number there, and introduce. And most people that you find, oh my god, I can't believe you called me, and it's
I
like
know. I know.
that's what the phones are for. The
It just seems
phones aren't the
cool
call.
to like actually have a reporter call you, but
Yeah,
seriously,
yeah.
have the cell phone number in the bottom.
And I
Give
feel
me a
like a
call.
call is more intimate. It's letting
It
you
is.
know that, hey, I'm really serious. I'm not just going to get lost in the emails. Let's find a way we can make this work. I see that he's going to be in town, so I want to really align these things, because when Forbes rolls out the red carpet, they roll out the red carpet. You're talking production staff. You're talking like clean cameras. You're
Yeah.
talking quality journalism, right? And so you want
Ooh,
to make
that's a big
sure
deal. You're
that.
showing up.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. You got to make sure that it all aligns.
Ooh, so you want the call from you? Ooh, what a publicist's day is made when it's like, oh my God, they want to do the feature, they want to do the segment. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. I mean, and
that's
it all rolls
a
out. I mean, you're
fantasy.
talking, hey, now I got to run this up to the magazine side because it can
Yes.
turn into a magazine daily cover, or it can turn into a hardcover, or the
Oh
magazine may
my God.
want it. And if the magazine wants it, now I got to hold off on putting it out there on social media because, it's a whole different editorial process. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of Forbes. There's so many different layers that we can offer of journalism, of quality journalism. It's just a matter of what fits, right? But it all starts with, again, that initial pitch. And if that initial pitch, if you're talking my language from an exclusivity standpoint, from a standpoint of where, hey, it may not be a celebrity, but this person matches the
Yeah.
Forbes pillars.
Yes.
He or she's wealthy. That individual's impactful. They just raised $100 million or two. They're sitting on a $100 million company. Like, it's those type of pitches that you
Yes.
want to see, and I feel like you can always make it work where it's a win-win.
Ooh, this is so good. Okay, for the inbox though, let's get back
Yeah.
to that. Do you just let it ride, or do you have 67,000 unread emails, or do you have a filing system? What are we doing?
Yeah. So when they come in, I mean, listen, I'm always glancing at it. Even when you're on
Okay.
vacation, you just can't help but to not peek, right? You
Yeah.
can't turn it off,
No,
Beck.
no,
Like,
you
you just
can.
can't turn
It's
it
so
off.
awful. Maybe
Yeah.
in 50 years too, we'll be like, oh my God, remember we had emails?
I'm
The,
telling you,
the death of our brain cells. Yeah.
it's a curse,
Yeah,
right?
it
It's like
is. It is.
it's our curse. But so I'm always glancing at it. The ones that come in, on the weekends are the ones that are most interesting because I too send emails on the weekend. It
Wait,
allows me to. Oh yeah, I,
you
I
want
do
you
it.
want to you want to pitch on a weekend?
If it's a good one, yeah. Because I mean, the weekend things are slow. I'm not getting 7,000 messages from people that are just working the Monday through Friday. One of the best pitches that I
Hmm.
always ask entrepreneurs about
Mhm.
is, hey, what got you to get that investor or that celebrity investor to say yes? And
Yes.
one of the best pitches was this guy who pitched Mark Cuban at 10 p.m. at night. And the opening line was, hey, I'm just going to take my shot. You might be up. And it just so happens that Mark Cuban was up and he found it, like, of course, he's reading at 10 o'clock
No,
at night. And it's like you court his attention. You know what I
yes,
mean?
and he
So
is famous for responding
answering
to
emails.
emails.
Yeah,
Yes, he says this
absolutely.
very openly and so forth. So,
And so if I see a good
wow,
one on a weekend, on a Saturday morning or Sunday, like, because Beck, I'm up very early. And so
great.
if
Me
I see one
too.
that
Okay.
comes in, you're gonna capture my attention and I'm gonna dive into it, right? Because I never like to leave people unread or unresponsive. I try to get back to as many people as possible. It's not possible all the time,
No,
but
and
I
I was going to
try.
say, but you're
I
one of
mean, it's
those. God
not,
bless you.
but yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
so when you see something that comes in during the weekends, I'm a sucker for that. And again, you got to make sure that it makes sense. You have to make sure that you know the brand. You got to know who you're pitching. I'm not a contributor. I'm a staff writer. You're
yes,
you're
good
getting you're getting
distinction.
magazine
Good
quality. Yeah,
distinction.
it's a big distinction. You're
Good
getting
distinction because
a quality magazine.
yeah.
Offer at the end of the day.
Yes. And there are many, 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 many contributors at Forbes. I'm a former one in the
Yes.
travel section. I mean, thousands and thousands and
Yeah.
thousands. I don't know the exact
Wonderful
number, but
too. They're
like, oh, I
wonderful.
know. It's a
Wonderful.
content
But
machine. It's the empire.
absolutely.
But
But there's two forms of Forbes, obviously,
yes,
because you're on one side of it. And
yes,
the other
contributors
side is,
versus
yeah, the
legit
red
employed.
carpet side.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
I tell people it's like the difference. Like, Toyota makes Lexus and they also make Toyota. Right. So if you look at Forbes as under an umbrella, right, there's the
Yeah,
Lexus,
yeah,
which is the Forbes newsroom,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you have now listen, Toyotas make nice cars. The Camry is beautiful, right? And the Highlander is beautiful and all of that. And I used to work at Toyota, so I know. But then when you go to Lexus, it's a little bit
It's
more
different.
upscale luxury. It's
Yeah,
different,
that's a
right?
different thing.
That's what
Different
it
thing.
is.
Okay, but I do want to emphasize one point that I have never heard yet on this entire thing, that a Saturday morning email, a pitch,
Yeah.
is like your love language. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's a
And it has
first.
to be like a Saturday, and I would like to see the emails come in like around 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
publicists, get them scheduled. No,
Yeah.
what I think is just I want to do like some awards for all the gem little nuggets I've heard on here so
Yeah.
far.
Well, there's a
There's
reason
some
behind that,
good.
and that's because
Yes.
Quincy Jones, the famous producer, always used to
Yes.
do his best writing at nighttime. And so I have a habit
Mm,
because I come from the sports days where I might get up at 2 a.m. in the morning because if I really wanted to go recap the sports day because I missed so much of it because I'm dived into something else, I get the clear highlights at 2 a.m. in the morning on the sports center. I got to worry about no riffraff, no talking. I could just get the highlights, the content. I'm done. And while I'm doing it, I'm scrolling through, see if I see some interesting emails, right? Because I'm multitasking. But Quincy Jones always felt at nighttime the muses come out. That's when your best ideas are
I agree with
curated.
that.
And
When
so
it's
when those
quiet, when it's
emails come
quiet.
in, I'm thinking like, man, my ideas are spinning. This is a good idea. It might not be
Mm,
Forbes, but guess what? We got a partnership at the NASDAQ. Let's do video only and let's turn it into that content. We have a great
mm,
social media team. We can cut it up. And so those are the type of ideas I like flowing, and they happen, again at nighttime.
mm, mm. So many gems here. Jabari, how do publicists make better relationships with you other than send you a 3 a.m. email on Saturday? Or do you want to have any
Get a.
relationships with publicists? That's the
I
other
don't want no
caveat.
relation. No.
You're like, I don't
you know,
want to talk to you or see you ever.
at that point, I would have to leave my job. Right, our job is to talk to people. If we're in
I,
the office, we're not doing our job. So
I
I
agree.
tell people, I love to get out. I love lunches. The best time
Yeah.
of a publicist, hey, bro, let's go grab some lunch and talk a little bit. And I mean, I'm in New York City, right? I mean, listen, one day I hope to live somewhere down in Texas and off the radar. But while I'm in New
For
York,
now,
you want to take advantage. Yeah, you want to take
yeah, you
advantage
want to
of
take
all the nice
advantage.
restaurants, the scenery, and the
There's nothing
summertime, the
else like
rooftops. Yeah, it's nothing like it. And my job is to go out and talk to people to try to generate ideas, different storytelling elements, things that I think would make Forbes storytelling that much better, especially within the Black community. If I'm on that.
Mhm.
And so, I always, if you offer me a good lunch or a good dinner or a good happy hour, I'm always there. If you're trying to get me on a Zoom or you're trying to get me and we're playing email exchanges,
No.
we're in it for a marathon. It's gonna be a
Yeah, and then it's
marathon.
17 emails, and you're like, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, everybody. So he wants to go to dinner. Make it good though, and make it in New York City, of course.
Hey,
Okay.
plus Forbes is paying most of the time.
Hey, it's good.
You
It's good.
gotta pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, or in some cases, the publicist is paying because it's on you. So you're
I
on
got a
that.
rule
Makes
there,
you.
right?
What
There's
is the
ethics you
rule?
have to do by.
Tell
The
us the
rule
rule
is
because
like
it varies at different outlets. Tell us.
yeah,
Sometimes like
it's like
coffee
the
is
episode of
okay.
the what episode of I forget what TV show it was, but when somebody offers to do it, and I've always learned, and my family kind of instilled this to me, when someone
Yes.
offers to pay for something and you decline and they are just adamant about it, it's looked upon as rude if you ignore the offer for the second time.
Oh.
So if they offer, I said, no, I got this one. Okay, cool. Then they're putting that on me, right? At that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
it ain't like they're going. So it's like, but once they are at and they give you that second time, then it's looked upon as rude. And now I have to know the next time that we meet, because there will be a second time. I'm going to make sure I get the bill right away. I'll even sneak off to the bathroom and see the wait. Hey, here's my
And give
card.
me.
Pay for
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah. Give
thing.
it.
Yeah, so that way I don't have to, right? But you're
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about
Yes.
trying to
Hmm.
handle ethics as well as human being stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate line.
Yes, and many journalists, as we've had on here, for like gift guides and so forth, like, no, you can't accept the gifts. They get sent back. You're not going on a trip. You're not going, like,
Oh
no,
yeah, no
coffee.
trips, no
That's it.
trips.
That's it.
Yeah, no trips,
Maybe
no
that.
trips, no hotels, no plane
No,
tickets,
no,
none of that.
no.
I can't always tell. Thank you so much. It would be great if I could say
It would
yes,
be great.
but I can't. I can't.
There's maybe a mayor
Editorial standards.
who needed to hear about
Editorial
that,
standards.
but that's a whole other story. Okay. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
That was great understanding Jabari on relationship building and so forth. I have a little rapid fire question
Yeah.
session here, so why don't we go into that here and we can wrap it up. Video or phone interview? Sounds like phone.
Well, video interview, because if I'm doing a video interview, I need to see
Yeah.
your body language. I need to see your eyes. So video interview. But if it's just, hey, catching up, phone works.
Phone, good. Bullet points or paragraphs in a pitch?
Paragraphs. I want to see that you know what your pitch is. I want to see that you know your target. And I want to know that you're really trying to sell me on something. And by giving me all the information, if you put bullets, then you're allowing me to leave it up to my own imagination, because bullets are like one or two sentences, one or two phrases, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now I'm getting caught up in email exchanges, right? Lay it all out. Tell me why this person is important. Tell me why the pitch is important, and and go from there. Now I'm different. You gotta know
I
who
was
the
going to
journalist
say
is.
you are over here
Yeah.
on the spectrum of what I've heard on here so far, and
Yeah.
many times. Okay, so then the next question is like short or long pitches, but it sounds like you like a long pitch because you want
Well, it
to
depends.
detail.
It could be a paragraph, but it could be one or two, and then you lay it out with a couple of bullet points at the end.
Yes,
But you're allowing me to understand it at the end, at the
fully.
beginning, right?
Yes.
But I think if you use, it's a mixture, right? You got to know when enough is enough, and that's up to the person who's making the pitch. And I feel like in this era of Gen AI, of all these great programs, you can make the proper pitch and concise it if you have to, or say, hey, you know what, this needs to go long because it's that important.
Exactly. And that's why we have one pitch, because it's the art of pitching, which is an art. All pitches are an art. So navigating that and finding the best journalists is a whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Images attached or a Dropbox zip file?
images attached. We're getting into this technology stuff now where Forbes are sending, they have like 7,000 cybersecurity links that we got to go through all the time. And they're always telling you, don't click the link, don't click the link. And so I don't click. I usually
Don't
don't
click the
click
link.
too much.
Okay. Okay.
I
Good.
don't.
Good to know. That is actually, we haven't talked about that recently so much on here, and I want to do that more, which is just from a cybersecurity perspective. Yeah. Don't have
Yeah.
the links. Don't have
Yeah.
the
You got to be
anyway.
careful.
Yeah. Okay. Email or a DM to Instagram or Twitter or X, whatever. Like, you always email?
Always email me.
Always email.
Instagram and
No.
is Twitter
No.
still a thing?
A little X. I mean, who's on there? I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean,
it
but
exists somewhere.
I feel like social media is a little bit more personal. But however, I
Hmm.
do understand it that if you collect a certain amount of, we're in a new age, and these is a new generation of even marketers and of PR, officials, and so this is what they know, and so I keep that in mind, and I just politely ask them, "Hey, appreciate you reaching out. Do you mind sending it to my email?" I don't get offended though. I know some people who get very offended because that's the way that you found me. So I'm not. I appreciate it, but now we got to go back and we got to be professional because I need documents in case I need to go back to something. So, social media, you can unsend things and send things, and so you don't know. So I don't have a
Hmm.
problem with the DM, but I prefer email.
Hmm. Okay. Direct or creative subject lines?
Hmm. Direct.
Yeah.
Let me be the creative one.
Yeah.
It's my job to create.
There you go.
Be direct and let me
There you go.
create off of because when I'm creating is I'm creating storytelling around it. That's why you're contacting me, right? So let me create. If you're already creating it, then why the hell do you need me? Right? So be
Yeah.
direct. Who you got? What are they? What's the money?
Exactly.
What's the figures? What's the business?
Yes.
And
Yes.
let me create the storytelling around it.
Hmm. What about press releases versus a media kit, or none of the above?
Say that again.
A press release or a media kit, or none of the above? Yeah. Yeah. Long pitch.
At that point, I believe it's up to the person who's making the pitch to decide what's more effective.
Okay.
If the press release has more detail and I can take what I need out of that, then send me the press release. If you feel like, you know what, Jabari likes to explore, I'm gonna send our media kit so he can look at the things that we all have and let me do that. And I do
Hmm.
that from time to time if those things are sent over because it's within those things sometimes you find your story. And so it's up to the person who's sending the pitch to decide.
I I love the array. You have a wide spectrum, Jabari, which I think is so unique for pitching because most people are like this on this question list. So I like this.
You
Okay.
can't be like that though, because you're at that point you're stifling your creativity. And I think as storytellers, as journalists, again, where our job is to create this, especially at Forbes, is to create this very great storytelling, celebrating success or celebrating some unique business idea. Here's a person you need to know that's doing some phenomenal things in business, like Fawn Weaver, who owns Uncle Nearest, and here's how she built this, whiskey
Yes.
empire, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
our job to be creative and tell that story. And so if you're blocking off different ways to do it, or you're blocking off, as Quincy Jones would say, the muses,
Yes.
then you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing the public a disservice because our job is to report to the American public.
Publicist dream here. Publicist dream. I love it. Okay, we're almost done with this. We talked about, oh, you read pitches all the time. That's the next question. Anytime
Yeah.
you're reading pitches on vacation, you're doing all the time, Jabari. What time do you
I,
get up?
I
By the
highlight them
way.
on vacation. If I see something that's direct
Uh huh.
that I know it has a Forbes angle to it, I'll
Uh
scan
huh.
it right fast. Then I'll flag it as read, and I go into a folder when I have some downtime, maybe on a Saturday morning, like at 7 a.m. when I'm up and the house is quiet and everything. Then at that point, I'll go through that folder to say, okay, let me see the ones that I saw was interesting, and do the proper job of scanning it, and then replying to that individual or whether or not it aligns to how I see the storytelling is. And if it doesn't, then I look forward to the next pitch.
Okay, before we wrap up, Jabari, I do my little like word playing day, my
Yeah,
vocabulary thing. And the
yeah.
word that is perfect that I was like, when am I going to use this? I don't know if you've heard this word before. Latitudinarian. a person who is open-minded and tolerant. Have you ever heard this word?
Wow, I
That's
did
you.
not.
That's you right there.
Wow.
Okay, 10 cent,
You
10
gotta
cent.
send me that
I'm
now.
going to send
That's
that to
funny.
you. You are this
That's
for
nice.
publicists, latitudinarians. Look at
Yes,
that.
man. You know, it's so funny because
Look
up
at
until
that.
today, maybe that my favorite word was always sesquipedalian. Right.
Oh, another 10-cent
Yeah.
word. Oh,
Right.
look at that.
Sesquipedalian. Sometimes I pronounce it wrong, but I think it's sesquipedalian. I
What?
heard that word on a TV show, Living Single, a long time ago, and I never forgot. I went immediately to look the word up,
Yeah, what is
and I
the
saw what
definition?
it meant.
That one is one I didn't study on SATs.
It's when one uses a whole bunch of he uses or she uses a long time or a long way of saying something that you could have just shortened right up in one sentence, right? And so
Oh,
that's what it was.
like
When you
being terse.
expand, yeah,
Okay.
when you expand and you don't have to, right? You can just be direct. And so, but that's always been one of my favorite words.
Oh, love it. Love words. Jabari,
Yeah.
any last thing that we could promote, celebrate, highlight about you? I know you guys have a bunch of events coming up.
Yeah, listen, we're in the middle right now, our third Forbes BLK Summit, which will be, in Atlanta next year,
Yes.
2025. So excited about that. And then our inaugural Forbes BLK list, which is coming out in December. And so, I'm excited about those two projects. That's what's having my time. So if I don't respond to people's pitches,
That's
right,
why.
that's
That's
why.
why. He's working on some lists. So it's a little
Working on
list, little list.
Yeah.
Jabari, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today. Publicist, this is Jabari Young. He's a senior writer and editor at Forbes, specifically Forbes Black. Check it out. Email him at 3 a.m.
Yes.
on a
You might
Saturday.
just get a reply.
You might get a reply. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jabari. We'll see ya.
Thank you back. Appreciate it.